Total honesty in relationships. It's what we've all been told leads to lasting love. But what if keeping certain secrets could actually make your relationship stronger? Today we're exploring some truly counterintuitive findings about modern relationships that might change everything you thought you knew about love.
That's a fascinating concept. It challenges the common belief that complete transparency is always best. I'm intrigued by the idea of selective disclosure. Could you provide some examples of the types of information that might be better kept private in a relationship?
Well, it turns out that selective disclosure, choosing what to share and what to keep private, can lead to greater relationship satisfaction. Think of it like having a filter between your thoughts and your words.
So you're saying sometimes less information is actually more beneficial?
Exactly right. And here's what's really interesting. Studies show that couples who maintain some mystery and independence often report higher satisfaction than those who share everything. It's like the difference between a highlight reel and watching every single minute of raw footage.
That makes me think about how social media has completely changed the game. We're constantly exposed to everyone's relationship highlight reels.
Oh my gosh, yes! And that ties into another fascinating finding. We're actually suffering from choice overload in modern dating. Dating apps have given us so many options that people are becoming more dissatisfied with their relationships.
So what you're saying is that having more choices is actually making us less happy?
Precisely. Research shows that when people have too many options, they tend to become paralyzed by choice and constantly wonder if they're missing out on something better. But here's where it gets really interesting. This connects directly to attachment styles.
I've heard about attachment styles, but I'm not sure most people understand how they work in real relationships.
Well, here's something that might blow your mind. Anxious and avoidant attachment styles actually attract each other like magnets. It's this cosmic dance where one person constantly pursues while the other withdraws.
That sounds like a recipe for relationship disaster. How do people break out of that pattern?
It starts with something called metacognition. Basically, thinking about your thinking. And while it can be exhausting, it's crucial for developing the 3 essential traits for successful relationships: self-awareness, open-mindedness, and resilience.
Speaking of successful relationships, what about conflict resolution? That seems to be where many couples struggle.
This is where something called the ARC method comes in: acknowledgement, remorse, and commitment. And get this, research shows that couples who share similar conflict resolution styles tend to be more successful, regardless of how often they disagree.
That's really interesting. So it's not about avoiding conflict altogether?
Not at all. And here's another mythbuster. That old advice about never going to bed angry? Research suggests that sometimes taking a cooling-off period can lead to more constructive conversations. Your brain actually processes emotional information differently after sleep.
Well, that certainly challenges conventional wisdom. What other relationship myths need debunking?
Here's a big one. More sex doesn't necessarily equal greater relationship satisfaction. It's the emotional connection and trust that really matter. And speaking of myths, let's talk about how investing solely in your relationship can actually make it weaker.
That seems counterintuitive. Wouldn't focusing more energy on your relationship make it stronger?
You'd think so. But research shows that maintaining friendships and outside interests actually makes you a better partner. It's about bringing your whole, developed self to the relationship, rather than expecting the relationship to complete you.
These findings really challenge everything we've been taught about relationships.
They do, and here's what it all comes down to. Successful relationships aren't about following a prescribed set of rules. They're about finding what works for you and your partner while maintaining individual growth and identity. And, most importantly, understanding that some things are better left unsaid.
This gives your listeners a lot to think about when it comes to their own relationships.
Absolutely right. And remember, whether you're single, dating, or in a long-term relationship, these insights can help you build healthier, more satisfying connections. Thank you so much for watching and listening, and I hope you got some interesting info out of this. Please don't forget to leave a thumbs up. See you in the next video. Ciao.